Good morning, grade 11 students. Welcome to our second reading lesson. In our lesson today, we will cover two main objectives. First, you will compare and contrast data or information to choose the relevant graphs to the four texts through Activity C, page 53. Second, you will identify the meaning of 8 words and phrases through Context Clues, Activity D, page 53. Alright, let's get started. So, without opening your books, can you tell which environmental issues the pictures illustrate? If you do remember yesterday's reading passages. So, the first picture, very good, the Arabian oryx. Second one, tropical rainforest. The third one, the African penguins. And finally, the American bison. So let's summarize what we studied yesterday through this matching activity. So we have the American bison, the population of the Arabian oryx, the number of African penguins, and the tropical rainforests. So which one do you think was a failure? Very good. We do remember that the African penguins and the tropical rainforests are decreasing. So has declined and are destroyed. Which one that has declined despite conservationist effort? Very good. Are destroyed every year despite awareness? Excellent. Which one has risen significantly thanks to captive breeding program? You do not remember? Let's try here. Oops, this is wrong. Breeding program which is taking place in Ash-Shahaniya. Very good. It's the population of the Arabian oryx. And which one has made a remarkable comeback? The American bison. Excellent. Alright, after having summarized the text, let's move on now to the Activity C on your student book, page 53. Read the text again and decide which graph A or B accurately represents the information stated in each text. So as you can see, this is the Activity C and you have graphs that represent the text and you have to decide which one is the appropriate. Is it A or B? We are going to identify which graph from the two graphs is relevant to the data mentioned in the text of the American bison. So let's respond to the following questions. What does the horizontal axis show? This is the horizontal axis. As you can see, it shows the years from 1890 to now. Next one. What does the vertical axis show? Now this is the vertical axis and it shows the number of population. Which one represents an upward or downward trend? Which means which one represents a trend that is increasing or decreasing. So this is an upward trend as you can see. And this is a downward trend, it's decreasing from 1890 till now. Alright, now let's refer to the text, the American bison. As we said, this is an upward trend, this is a downward trend, and we have some figures here. Let's see, as you can see here, we have a figure 750 by the 1890s, and we have another figure, but we have to understand the piece of evidence very well. So let's read them. Alright, now by the 1890s, their numbers had fallen. So the verb to fall, to decrease, to decline, to as few as 750 due to an intense period of hunting. Now, this is the present, approximately 500,000 bison live across North America. So now, this is now. What can you notice? Here, in this graph, it shows that it's 750, while in this graph, it shows 500,000. So which one is correct? Very good. Number B is the relevant graph. Alright, now let's move on to the second reading passage about the African penguins. First, it is very important to analyze or interpret the data on the graphs very well, so at least you can understand what you are required to look for. And as you can see here, the figure starts at 2 million in the early 1900s till now, which means in the early 20th century. And in the second graph, it starts at 300,000 to become extinct. Alright, now let's underline some pieces of evidence. So both of them are decreasing and are downward trends. And let's look at the figures mentioned here. So we are talking about the early 20th century. Back then, there were close to 2 million African penguins. So during that era, there were 2 million penguins. And this number had fallen to approximately 300,000 by the late 1950s. Right? So this is wrong because it is mentioned here that 1900s, while it should be by the late 1950s. And it is believed that if this trend continues, the African penguin will no longer be around in 10 years from now. So the answer is A. Very good. Alright, now how about the tropical rainforest bar graphs? As you can see here in the horizontal axis, it compares between the past and the present. Okay, so look at these figures here, as you can see. Now let's have a look. We have the same figures here. Now let's read carefully the evidence. In the past, tropical rainforest occupied 18 million square kilometers. So this is in the past. So which one shows that it occupied 18 million square kilometers? Very good, it's number B. Let's read more. Have reduced this to less than 8 million square kilometers. So reduced from the past to the present, it declined. Very good. And it is destroyed every year. We are talking here about rainforest, which is destroyed every year. So there is a downward trend. There is a decline from the past to the present. The answer will be, very good, number B. Alright, now the fourth reading passage. Let's have a look at the two graphs. So the vertical axis shows the population in the wild, and the horizontal axis shows the years. It is mentioned here that it was extinct in 1972, but in the second graph it shows that it was 1,220 in 1972. Alright, so here there is a slight increase, while here there is a dramatic increase. Now let's go through these figures in the reading passage. By 1972, the Arabian oryx became officially extinct in the wild. So in 1972, so this is the correct answer. Now there are now 1,220. This is of course, the graph that shows this piece of evidence, and more than 6,000 in reserves and other protected areas. So this one is wrong because it's not in the wild, but in reserves and other protected areas. So the answer is number A. Alright, now after we are done with the first objective, we are going to move to the second one. Let's identify the highlighted words in the text using context clues. Let's read the sentence. Despite the dramatic impact hunting had on the size of the population, the animals have made a remarkable comeback. So, hunting had, look at this sentence, had this impact on the size of the population. Means that due to hunting, the size of the population, of course, is decreasing and not increasing. So the word impact means a powerful effect. So after the animals have made a remarkable comeback as a result of conservation initiatives. So the animals have made a remarkable comeback means they have increased, which means that there is something positive as a result of conservation. So initiatives should be something positive that helps the animals increase. Very good. It means a plan, act, or proposal put forward to solve a problem. Alright, now the word number 3, which is declined. Unfortunately, their numbers have declined. So their numbers, it should either increase or decrease. And we have the word unfortunately, which means that this is something negative that happened. So the answer is very good. It is number B, to become less or fewer. Since then, governments and conservationists have worked hard to protect the species. So as we can see here, we have organizations that have been working hard to protect the species. Very good. So have worked hard to protect can help me identify who conservationists are. So the answer is H, is a person who is interested in saving or protecting the environment. Alright, once again, we are still in the African penguin passage, and we are going to identify the meaning of the word extinction. Water pollution, habitat loss, intensive fishing, and an increase in fur seal populations are considered the main reasons why this species is threatened with extinction. So the key word here, threatened. This word can help me identify the meaning of the word. It is threatened, so there is something bad or dangerous that would happen to these creatures or species. So what do you think the word extinction means? Very good, it means the state of no longer existing, state of dying out. Alright, now let's read the sentence from the passage Tropical Rainforests. As you can see here, we have the two highlighted words, and we have the word the human activities. So logging, farming, and cattle ranching. So cattle is related to ranching. So what's the meaning of these words? And they have reduced the rainforest, of course. What are the activities that can cause rainforest to reduce? Good. So logging is the business of cutting down trees. Ranching is raising animals such as cattle and sheep on a big farm. Now, captive breeding oryx, this is of course taken from the passage Arabian oryx, played an important role in bringing about a significant rise in the population numbers. So we help the population numbers of the Arabian oryx to increase. So the answer is getting animals to produce young in a controlled environment. Alright, now before we end our reading class, can you think of any verbs and adverbs related to upward trends and downward trends? So this is the upward, this is the downward. We usually use these words to describe how trends happen through a pie chart or bar graph or line graphs or diagrams. So go up, we can use these verbs. To go down, we can also use these words. And if you would like to describe how they are happening, you can use these adverbs. Let's share an example from what we have read. Due to water pollution and habitat loss, the population of African penguins has fallen dramatically, which means has fallen remarkably, considerably. So this is the end of our class. Thank you so much for your attention, and don't forget to do your assignment on the Microsoft Teams.